Everybody, in this video, I'm going to compare ASP.NET and PHP in terms of market share. This site was suggested to me by this guy here on YouTube, Ruled Triple XL. So first of all, I took an old Java app and I wrote it in ASP.NET with C# way back in the days when ASP.NET and the .NET framework were in beta 3, just to compare. They were comparable. The way they did things in ASP.NET was a little different from Java in those days, but things have, everything's sort of homogenized since then, meaning everybody does pretty much everything in very similar ways, But I won't get into the details. This is not really about the tech. It's really about the market penetration of the technologies and some realities that suggest. Let me say that again. And the realities with the market penetrations in each of these technologies and how they affect your work prospects. Because I think most people here are interested in terms of the financial viability of technologies that they learn. So ASP.NET, you can see here, look, 17 million websites versus 42 million. So you see a lot more people use PHP. In terms of market share, top 10,000, 100,000, top million websites on the web, PHP is by far dominant versus ASP.NET. And in terms of website categories, PHP dominates all the big categories: business, arts, internet, telecom, shopping, marketing. But ASP has a few things. In terms of geography, again, around the world, US, Russia, Germany, France, 216 other countries, Canada too, PHP is pretty dominant. So it's something to consider, I suppose. But you have to, as I said before, have to look at your local market or whatever market you want to operate in to decide whether you go with one or the other. So let me point out, ASP.NET is a framework, and you write ASP.NET sites usually with C#. PHP is a language, and it has several frameworks. The most popular these days in 2017, just about 2018, is Laravel, and I recommend Laravel. StudioWeb is Laravel based, as an example. It's very sophisticated. Now, PHP has larger penetration, largely because it's been around longer. PHP came out, you have to look, I think it's in mid to late 1990s. ASP.NET came out in 2000, 2001. Before ASP.NET was classic ASP, something I wrote several apps in, and it was retired because it was an old technology. Now, ASP was, again, a framework, a simple framework, and most people wrote ASP with VB script. Anyhow, but PHP evolved into its very sophisticated language, and you have choices of frameworks that you have today, just as sophisticated as whatever you get in Ruby, Java, ASP, etc. PHP is very specialized, though. It's specifically for web app creation. You can do other things, but nobody does PHP commercially except to build websites and web apps. Whereas ASP.NET is a web app framework, and you code that with C#. In terms of learning ASP.NET versus PHP, again, PHP is just more approachable because it's a whole bunch of reasons. I won't get into it here. But I would definitely be going into PHP because PHP in its core, well, here's the main reason. PHP at its core is a web programming language, whereas ASP.NET is a framework, and then you have to use C#. So you have to learn C# and then get into the ASP framework, an extra step, if you will. Whereas PHP, right at the core of it, with basic PHP 101, you can build simple web apps, things that process forms and everything, and much more. But you ultimately, if you want to get into commercial PHP, you want to use a framework like a Laravel. Is ASP better than PHP? PHP better than ASP? Again, all the modern programming languages and frameworks are all neck and neck in terms of their ability. You just have to look at market issues. You have to look at the particular job it has. So for instance, if you had a business client where they had all kinds of Microsoft, they were using Microsoft Office or something, and they wanted to integrate their website with their Microsoft back end, then you definitely want to go with ASP there, ASP.NET, because they have all kinds of hooks and tie-ins and make that easy. On the other hand, if you have a client who's got a WordPress-based system, they want to add e-commerce and maybe add in some social capabilities, of course, you're not going to build something in ASP.NET. You're going to do it in PHP because you already got a PHP infrastructure. If you're just learning for the first time from scratch, I would definitely do PHP first because it's just so much more approachable. You get things up and running quickly. And at the end of the day, once you learn your PHP well, you learn your MVC and other design patterns. I won't get into what that is. You can learn about it in a proper course. And you just get into building web apps with PHP. Later on, there's an opportunity for you to use ASP.NET because there's some advantage, mainly because of Microsoft infrastructure that the company may be using. It will be easy for you to learn ASP.NET because you already have that background. It's kind of like when I talk about not learning C++ as your first language. Not that I'm making fun of C++, it's very powerful, but it's a hard language to learn relative to, say, Python or JavaScript or PHP. Much better to learn those core principles of programming with easier languages, and then later on, if you need to do C++, C++ will be just much easier because it's just much more approachable. And there you go. I hope you found this video useful.